I'm in the Faubourg Treme neighborhood, also known as Treme, simply known as Treme. This is the area outside of New Orleans. It's located in the 6th Ward of New Orleans, to be more specific. So it's a very historic neighborhood, founded in the 1810s. It is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city and was initially the main neighborhood of its free people of color. So it's a historically black neighborhood. And there's some images right here. There's one image of a brother by the name of Collins Coach Lewis. And this is a photograph by Jeffrey Ehrenrich. So I guess looks like this was a musician or a drummer or something of that sort. Goes Ronald Lewis. Photographed by Kia Welsh or Kim Welsh. And there goes the big queen QT Kim Bote. Okay. So she has the Native American, I think that's what that is, on her head. The headdress. Photo by Ryan Hodgkin Rigsby. So shout out to all the artists over here. And it's located outside what's called the Backstreet Cultural Museum. Okay, so they have a museum right here based on the culture. Big Chief Huey. So I'm guessing this is the Native American, like, Mardi Gras Indian suit. So based on the, I guess, the black Mardi Gras culture here in New Orleans. Here's Sylvester Hawk Francis. This is nice too, this little girl right here with her Mardi Gras Native American get up on, based on a photo by Cheryl Gerber. Okay, very neat. So of course every neighborhood in the city has its own unique vibe to it. And check this out, they even have a coffee house right here called the Treme Coffee House. It's a nice little neighborhood joint right here. Something local. And it's like a, I wonder if that's a school. Looks like a school right there. Then they have a community center right here as well. It's called the Treme Center. Nice little artwork outside of it. That's that art piece right there, the brother blowing the trombone, is by B. Mike. B. Mike. So I guess this is like a community center, so to speak. They have one right here. It's called the Spirits of Treme. People playing the drums. So this basically represents the jazz culture right here in New Orleans. and it's at blight_504, the artist. Yeah, this is nice right here as well. Fannie Lou Hamer. There goes the brother Malcolm X right here. Of course, his famous words, "by any means." So it's good to have places like this, you know. They have like dance classes and different programs for the youth to get involved in, to keep them off the mean streets of New Orleans. So that's really good to have those things intact. So this neighborhood, of course, has a lot of history. It used to be a plantation. It used to be like 2 plantation houses or 2 forts. They were called St. Ferdinand and St. John. But Claude Treme purchased the land from the original plantation owners. We're talking towards the end of the 18th century. So he bought this land so that he could establish a neighborhood outside of the downtown area, French Quarter and all of those neighborhoods. You can see the houses. That's a nice artwork right there. Want to get a few blocks of Treme. I also want to make mention before I go that this neighborhood was also the focus of a documentary back in 2008. It was called Faubourg Treme, the untold story of Black New Orleans. So it came out in 2008. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check it out. I have to tell myself that. I need to take my own advice because I haven't seen it either myself. But and there's also an HBO series that came out in 2010 and called Treme, created by David Simon, the same person who created The Wire, based out of Baltimore. And yeah, and jazz singer Dee Dee Bridgewater is also from Treme. She recorded her album Dee Dee's Feathers in 2015 in the Esplanade Studios in Treme to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. So here we go. Still within the Treme neighborhood, but close to the French Quarter on Rampart Street. This is Louis Armstrong Park. Now, Louis Armstrong Park was established in a controversial urban renewal project in the 1960s, where a substantial portion of the Treme neighborhood was leveled, and the area adjacent to the Congo Square was the land that was used to establish this park of Louis Armstrong. So it was created on very controversial ground, unfortunately. The park was designed by New Orleans architect Robin Riley and named for New Orleans born jazz legend Louis Armstrong. So as you can see, there's a nice sculpture right there of a jazz band. You know, so the trumpets, the saxophones, the tubas, trombones, all of those things. And check this out. This is a sculpture of Allison Big Chief Tootie, Montana. So this was the Yellow Pocahontas Mardi Gras Indian tribe of chiefs, a New Orleans cultural icon, and internationally recognized master craftsman in the building trade. Big Chief Montana masked as a Mardi Gras Indian for over 50 years. He died in city council chambers defending the Mardi Gras Indian tradition. And this was sculpted by Shalene Jones Adeline on April 2010. So this is really what the sculpture looks like. It's her holding him holding a tambourine. You know. Yeah.
I did not know that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it about myself. And this looks like an abandoned building. Sure. I don't know what it used to be. It looked like a
municipal auditorium.
Oh, it used to be an auditorium. Thanks for that, bro. Used to be an auditorium. Wow. Yeah, this is, you know, this park is super old. 1960s. It's shoot, we're talking like 65 years old, pretty much. I wonder what they're gonna do with that. If they're gonna convert that into something. That would be nice. Convert it into like convert it into something, maybe a school, library, something. Okay, now this is a sculpture of the jazz giant Sidney Bechet, or Beckett. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but this is a sculpture of Sidney Beckett, who was a jazz musician, and this was made possible by a grant from the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation. So June Kahn and family have also assisted with generous donation in memory of Jules Kahn, whose love of jazz and the French Quarter was known by all who knew him. So this was dedicated May 6, 1997. So a little over 25 years ago. And this right here, you see this water over here, but this over here is the Mahalia Jackson Theater for the Performing Arts. And let me get a close-up, because there's a sculpture of the beautiful Mahalia Jackson. So here's a sculpture of Mahalia Jackson. This was sculpted by Elizabeth Catlett, and this was also sculpted in 2010. And this is Mahalia Jackson, who was born right here in New Orleans and became known as the world's greatest gospel singer. Through concerts and recordings, her powerful voice introduced black gospel music to an international public. She sang in support of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. So there she is, Mahalia Jackson, born October 26, 1911, and perished on January 27, 1972. So she was only 60 years old. Wow, that's pretty young. That's pretty young. This the theater right here. Nice little theater. So it's a performing arts venue. So of course New Orleans is going to have a ton of those, because New Orleans, it's a lot of people who hail from New Orleans, and not just jazz, but all type of genres of music. Primarily jazz. You know, of course you have your Louis Armstrong and your Mahalia Jacksons. But you know, in other genres, you also have, like in rap music, you have Lil Wayne, of course. We all know Lil Wayne is from New Orleans. You have the whole Cash Money crew, Juvenile, who else? Birdman, just a whole bunch of more of a Manny Fresh, BG. I mean, Turk. There's a whole bunch of them. Then you had the No Limit crew, you know, C Murder and Master P, Silk the Shocker, you know, Mystical. There's a whole bunch of rappers from New Orleans who made it big. Here is a statue of Louis Satchmo Armstrong, and this was by Elizabeth Catlett as well, sculpted by Elizabeth Catlett, and this was in 1980 when it was dedicated by Lucille Armstrong. Now Louis Armstrong, of course, jazz legend, New Orleans native. His trumpet and harp brought everlasting joy to the world, embodying jazz as the pulse of light. In appreciation of the National Park Service, April 18, 2008. So Louis Armstrong Park is really nice, has a lot of sculptures and a lot of green space. Really brings out the essence of New Orleans. No doubt about it. Got that wooden bridge over there. And this is a sculpture of Charles Buddy Bolden, who was born in the late 1800s. And this legendary cornet player is often credited as the earliest jazz musician and band leader. In dance halls and street parades, Bolden was among the first to improvise popular music using the black, blues, and hymn vocal style on a horn. He is remembered as the first king of jazz. This was sculpted by Kimberly Dummins in April 2010. So that's at least 3 or 4 sculptures that was sculpted in 2010. So they really gave this park a forklift in 2010. Also, I need to give Charles Buddy Bolden, I need to do some research, do my homework on him, because I've heard of Mahalia Jackson and Louis Armstrong, but that's the first time I've heard of Buddy Bolden. So this is some really cool history that I'm learning on the fly. French opera. So I think this is what this sculpture represents. This was sculpted by Steve Klein in April 2010. So New Orleans has a rich history in the French opera. And look at these stainless steel balls right here. This is a really dope sculpture. The mosaic tiles right here. Really dope, really dope. This park is really well landscaped. As you can see, they have a firehouse. They have another wooden bridge over there with some string lights on it. Let's see if I can get a better view of it. Yep, that's it right there. Really, really dope. But that does it for Louis Armstrong Park and Congo Square. So stay tuned for the next part of this video. Walking down St. Anne Street. It's another major street on the French Quarter. Look at the colorful buildings right here. Colorful buildings. 1800s architecture, French architecture. The nice plants hanging off the balconies. New Orleans was the capital of the Spanish province of Louisiana, 1762 to 1803. This street bore the name called Santa Ana. Okay. Now it's St. Anne. That's a vacant building right there. Wonder what they do with these vacant buildings after a certain amount of time. The Raw Shop smoking vapor cigars. Okay. Got the Halloween decorations out. Fall season in full effect. What I like about these streets in French Quarter is that they are decorated with flags of different countries. You know, of course, you know, they have the state flag, the US flag. You know what I'm saying? They got the LSU Tigers flags, of course. You gotta represent the home state. And they have the Saints flags, so represent the hometown Saints.
You've had them before?
No. I mean, I've had it.
Check this out. This building right here is the site of the first Louisiana school. So it was built in 1725. So we're getting closer to Jackson Square. Check this out. The Presbyterian building. So this is on Chartres Street. So it's a ton of restaurants right here on Jackson Square. Ton of people out here displaying their art, selling their artwork.
Really well if we get that.
Cool art pieces out here on display. They even had the people out here to do your caricatures. So if you want to get a caricature done, they have them out here by Jackson Square. Now, Jackson Square is the site of the Louisiana Purchase in 1803 and known as Place des Armes until 1856, and was established in 1721 by French explorers and a young engineer named Adrien de Prouwer. The focal point of this square is the statue of Andrew Jackson, who partook in the Battle of New Orleans in 1815. And it's a 2.5-acre park, which includes 2 cannons along Chartres Street and marble statues installed in 1852. So it fits, I mean, it faces this museum right here in this old historical building. It sounds like I hear a jazz band playing in the background. There goes the statue of Andrew Jackson, of course. I feel like every city that has his name associated with it, there's going to be a statue of him on his horse. There he goes, the General Andrew Jackson. Yep, I hear that New Orleans jazz in the background. Everybody have their cameras out, taking pictures on this beautiful fall day. It's nice and warm out here too, for it to be almost mid-October. Jackson Square. They have the little carriages out here. That cross right here.
Yeah, and I've been
Decatur Street now. So we have Cafe du Monde, original French coffee stand. Oh, check this out. They have a steamboat Natchez, live jazz on all cruises.
Hop on back.
Okay. And check out the artwork right here. Look at this. Look at this collage of art right here. Whoever put this together, shout out to you guys. You know, art always brings flavor to a city that already has a lot of flavor in New Orleans.
That was on Lady Bristol, Lee Trade Boys, that's all.
lot of live jazz bands, street performers. New Orleans, that's New Orleans for you. There's a brother out there performing a classic. Performing that Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love. R.I.P. to Bobby Caldwell, by the way. I was actually not too far from this area earlier today when I was over there by the outlet walk or whatever it was called, where they had all the mall. And this right here, it's called the Moonwalk, named in honor of Moon Landreau. For most of the city's history, the riverfront in the Vauquer, or the French Quarter, was dedicated to commerce and industry. In 1976, under the Landreau administration, the Moonwalk was constructed, replacing a cargo wharf and shed that occupied this site. So here you go. And check out that vessel right there. A couple river boats. And they even have the rocks right there by the water. So it's a pretty cool setup over here. See that building right there is the Jack's Brewing, or the Jackson Brewing Company. And at one point in time, that building sold what was called Jack's beer, and it was a brand name which was used in different states, brewed by Jacksonville, Florida's Jack's Brewing Company. So this brewery right here served the Jack's branded beer that was originally brewed out of Jacksonville, Florida. Okay. The Jacksonville to New Orleans connection. But yeah, that sums up Jackson Square in the French Quarter. So we're gonna move on to the next part of the NO. So stay tuned.